In this video, I'm going to take you through the process I go through when I come to a rather more difficult obstacle. At least it's more difficult for my vehicle, which is a Toyota Bundera. So let's walk up the track now and I'll start to download to you some of my thinking as we go through this particular track. So my vehicle's a Toyota Bundera short wheelbase. It's got 529 diff ratios, which is a crawler ratio. It's twin locked and it's running the Maxxis RZR tyres. So it's pretty capable off-road. Now, when we get to this obstacle, there's a few considerations, and all of these considerations can be applied to your vehicle and your application. So the first moment where I've got to take some consideration is here. You see, my tyre's going to go up on that rock. My left-hand side will be down in this hole here. What that means is that there will be a body roll, and I don't want to body roll into that embankment. So what I'm going to do is try to sit my vehicle to the right-hand side as much as possible, even if I can get my left tyres to climb onto this wall here. So to get that to happen, back here, at this point in the track, I'm going to start moving to the right-hand side of the track so I can do that ride up through there. That's my thinking at this moment. Obviously, we're going to find out what actually happens when we do this. So once we get through that section, the next section is this whole rock wall that I've got in front of me here. Now, when I look at this rock wall, the first thing is I've got this step here. Now, I don't want to be climbing on the rocks with a tyre down in there, probably my left rear, because that's going to give me a vehicle attitude where this front right tends to lift up. So I want to work out a line on this rock face where my rear tyres are already on top of that shelf. So once I get up here, the back will be on top of that step and on top of this side here. My front tyres are going to be in this area here. So I could come in here with my right-hand side coming up that shelf there, which means my left's coming in here. And my concern is that the vehicle will pivot around like that, with this being the fulcrum point, and that means that the right rear can drive itself up through there and pivot the whole vehicle around. What's the problems with that? One is I've got a tree here, I don't want to slide into that. The other is that's a massive step for a little 33-inch tyre. It might get up it, but I just think there's some potential danger moments by trying to follow that line and make that work. The other consideration is my rear tail shaft could impact onto that sharp edge there just because of that ramp over. So at the moment, I feel like that's not the go. I come back to thinking about this line over here. This rock here is what is going to hit my diff or my control arms. So that there is a bit of a challenge for me if I take this line up through here. So I feel like it's this section here is going to be my chance. I've got to put my left tyre into that crevice there. My right will sit about here. Now that will mean that the vehicle's kind of pushed to the right, but if I counteract that with a bit of left-hand steering, I might be able to get the vehicle to travel up through there, and then the back will pop up. Until we get in here, who knows exactly what's going to happen. But that there is going to bind up on my diffs or control arms unless I'm really lucky. That's my feeling anyway. I don't know if this is going to actually work, but that's my plan. That's what I'm going to try and execute. So we're going to roll camera on this and see what happens. Now I've got both lockers in, and the reason for that is I want to have the traction to pull up to the right here to get that first bite. Got to stuff those 3 roots. So the front's up, the rear's not so. Okay, that didn't work for me. That started to, because the rear didn't climb, that left rear quarter panel wanted to go into the embankment like that. Ah! Okay, so this is the trouble. This is what you got to work through. This is the unlocking of a trail, you know, working it out. So I'm just going to try and stay in that lower rut and see what happens as I climb up onto that rock. Still got the lockers in. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, that's all right. Good. Okay, now got to get that left into that wall. Bit of power on, hard left, and power up. Okay, so that rear diff caught on that. The rear diff caught on that rock that jutted out. You know, the one I was worried about. So we'll come back. All right, so I've got to get myself back down now. I'm just feeling the attitude of the vehicle. I know I've got a lot of lock in. I'm trying to use that to set myself up for another go. Now, what I find in these situations, I'll put those lockers back on, is that I need to come back out, because I'm doing this without a spotter. I need to come back out and just refresh my memory as to what I'm looking at and where things are before I do my next drive. Okay, so yeah, I'm also looking at what went on. So it looks to me like that right hand, I was too far to the right and that was probably pushed across. So I'm going to come in from the right and turn across a little harder, I think. Okay, here we go. First low. No. Okay, we go again. Okay, in we go. It's that rear diff, I can feel it hooking up. Okay, just not quite got enough clearance to clearance that, so we'll go back again. Try and get that lock in. I've got to watch that wall. So you notice how I come up, I get the front up, I crawl the front up, and then I power on. And that's to try and pop that back up. I just ripped my mud flap off. All right, we're going to try a harder. I'm going to try and hard onto that. I just cannot get that diff to clear. Now I've got to get my front across. Now this is a situation where just having a front selectable locker is handy. I've flicked the rear out. I want the front to come this way, so I'm just going to use basically like a front dig to pull across, I hope. No. Okay, but that did give me a little bit. Probably the back end was resisting that turn. Okay. All right, so we come back again. See, this is, in my mind, this is playing four-wheel drive. You know, I'm not here trying to get to a destination. I've come to this track because I want to try and drive this obstacle. I don't want to destroy the place, so it's not, I'm not sitting there just roosting and I don't want to break the car, so I'm not dialing and just carrying on. I'm using driving techniques to get myself through. So in my head, I'm unlocking the obstacle, if you will. I'm coming in, I'm having a taste of it, seeing what goes on, and then try it. That taught me something else about this obstacle and my car on it. Every car is going to be different on every obstacle. There's no one size fits all. You know, you get a truck come in here on 40s, he's going to drive straight through it without even slowing down. I'm on 33s, I'm a little short wheelbase. So this for me is a really technical little drive, and I'm having an absolute ball. Okay, so I've got to get that rear to climb that rock. That's the key to it. How do I do that? I just got to try and get that back to come over and not be pushed away from that rock wall. So I've got the lockers in again, both of them. Come up, steer in. There we go. Oh man, that was fantastic. How good. Oh. Yes. What a buzz. I love it when I come to an obstacle that's at the limit of my vehicle's ability, and then using my skill set to get my vehicle up that obstacle. And as you saw, I came in and I just tried out different things and learnt about the obstacle. Learnt how it is on this day with my vehicle and the way I've got it set up. The tyres were running about 10 psi, so quite low. But as you saw, the moment we hooked onto this rock here, it worked. Now, I think I went up here. I haven't seen the footage back. So I think the rear tyre actually came up on that little step there, which isn't quite what I planned, but it worked. Anyway, that's how I've unlocked this today with my vehicle and the track such as it is. I'd love you to comment down below what you think. How would you have tackled this? Would you have just driven it in one shot because you've got an absolute monster truck, or would you have hooked your vehicle up onto the end of the winch rope and just gone, I'm out? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trail.